Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today's workshop. We are excited to have you here. Today's session will be led by our Director of International Sales, Dr. Melissa Kao.
Thank you, Driti. And hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for coming. Nice to see you again. Okay, good. Today, this webinar is about customer flow analytics for QSR. QSR as in quick service restaurants. So QSR operates in one of the most competitive segment of retail. They need to serve a high volume of customers quickly and efficiently while maintaining a consistent food quality and customer experience. So this is a very big challenge. So every small improvement in speed and efficiency can translate into significant operational gains. So something the operation team can work on is their speed of service, their key KPI for them, which is what they care most about. And for the management level, they obviously looking at this and then the abandonment rate. So as long as they can get people in and they do not abandon it, then that's obviously sales. So they want to know how many customers have wait for more than 15 minutes, for example. If you have a lot of that, then it doesn't look good. So abandon rate is showing the end results. So it could lead to their short-term loss of business. Now, 40 to 50% of people in this industry, they're impulse buying, their customers. So long waiting. If they pass by the store and see a big queue in there, either waiting to order or waiting to receive their food, they will just walk past. They will just walk away, and that will lead to a missed opportunity. Yeah. So this is a series of solution workshop for the QSR. And today we're going to focus on how people counting works in a QSR environment. So the customer flow analytics. So we're going to talk about how it works, what equipment is required for that, the costing involved, and why do you need it. Then the second part of it will be in the next webinar. We will focus more on how you extract the value and how to use this data to enhance your operation. Now, this includes like dashboards, reports, analysis that is tailored for different internal team stakeholders. And there are also parts that is designed for data analysis team. So a lot of fast food chain has large data analytics team. And operation excellence is an art and is a big topic for them. So, so how we can give what is a winning formula, what is a shining example on how they're properly done. So their aim is to do the simple things good. Then the next webinar, we're going to look into a real world case study. So we're going to showcase the best practice from some of the world's largest QSR. So the operational excellence isn't about complicated changes. It's about doing simple things exceptionally well. So we explore how these top brands use people counting to pinpoint improvements, how they measure the results prior to change and after change and all that, and effectively how they implement the changes effectively. Yeah. Then the last of these, in our final session, we're going to talk about how to use the advanced AI analytics, predictive analytics for the workforce and resource planning. We'll also look at how you can start small with a pilot project and then gradually scale across your stores. And it's not only about doing everything at once, it's about building layer by layer on what you already have with the strategy for long-term integration and return on investment. Yeah. So today we're going to focus on the customer flow analytics. So I have a video here. You can click on the link and watch the video. So let's have a look. So at the front entrance, of course, you will count the people who is coming in, look at their age and gender, and then look at where they go. These are footfall counting into your stores. And then you look at the serving area. So being queuing to order food or queuing to pick up your food. So again, age and gender on there and how long they stay there. And sitting area. So when it's occupied or when it was all available, then occupied. And we're also counting how long they're sitting in the sitting area, which table is available, and so forth, and what kind of demographic, obviously, who are sitting over there. This is also a wider area. So these are where people are waiting to pick up their food, and those are sitting down. Kitchen area monitoring. We are obviously not monitoring individual staff. You notice we have a privacy mask on top, but we're monitoring, where staff are. So this is looking at efficiency. Do they have to walk across workstation often? That obviously is not being very efficient. Or they can be stationed here just doing, efficiently all their work. Yeah, are they able to do that? Storefront traffic as well, depending on how your CCTV is showing. You notice these are all the CCTV cameras of the shop. So we can even get from there how many people are passing by the shop in front. So now, the QSR operates in a highly competitive and low margin industry. Customer has many choices. So operational inefficiency, even a small one, can result in lost sales, poor reviews, or customer choosing your competitor. So sales data tells you what you sold, but it doesn't tell you what you have missed. So that's where people counting and behavior analytics fill in the missing gap. So it's helping you understand the why behind the numbers. So what do we mean by missing puzzle? So you have a lot of data from your sales and so forth, but how long is the queue? How long are they waiting to order and then waiting to pick up? And after the pickup, do they dine in or do they take away? So all these are the missing puzzle that your sales and POS data cannot give you. So those are the blind spot we're hoping to fill in the gaps for you. So and also sales data, as we say, it only shows you the outcome. What about the missed opportunity? So you want to focus on things. So if you cannot measure, you cannot manage it. So they can't, if you don't have if you're not measuring a queue, then the owners cannot see when and why customers walk away and how long they have been waiting before they leave and whether customer frustration was building up silently. Yeah. And customer dissatisfaction is invisible without the right tools. So even if everything appears fine on paper, you have a good sales at this store, no customer lodge a complaint, it may still be hiding issues like a long wait time. So, so you have to measure queue and the serving time and poor sitting availability. So you want to measure your table occupancy rate, how long they stay in the table, what is the turnover rate of of those table, and your kitchen bottlenecks. You want to measure staff movement, the heat map. So these problems do not show up in a sales transaction log, but can cause customer attrition. So management and also management, they are not in the restaurants 100% of the time. So even though they're very experienced, your store manager, they're not present in every shift. So therefore, you would need a real-time monitoring and analytics. They are essential. And these data and the report will reflect what happened during every part of the customer journey, not only when the sales occur. So allowing you to improve, so you know where you can improve to increase the customer, improve the customer experience, and obviously ultimately increase your sales. Yeah. So what are the challenges? So we look a little bit more closely in what are the challenges for the QSR. So the first one is lack of visibility into the queue built up and waiting time. So without a real-time queue monitoring, managers don't know when queues start forming and how long the customers are waiting for. So staff often don't react to queues because there's no pressure to move faster. They're there to do work, they prep, and they do at the same speed when it's quiet or when it's busy, because a build out is build up. No one is monitoring that anyway. They will ultimately finish all those order regardless. They're still doing their job. There's no urgency in there if you're not measuring. So this would lead to longer waiting time, frustrated customer, especially at peak hour, and ultimately, obviously, you lost sales. So these missed opportunities often go unmeasured and unrectified. And the second one is lack of visibility into the sitting availability. So if your restaurant is fully occupied, of course, then you lose further business. And if the area appears to be full or the turnover is slow, for example, due to delayed in cleaning. So the customers have left, but the table is not clean, so no one can theoretically use it. And potentially, so dining customers would walk away. So there's no data on how often this happen and what is the turnover rate actually is. So also with a display for a diner, they can then remotely see the occupancy. For example, for a canteen, if it's full now, if they can remotely see that, they can come back at a later time. Yeah, so all this building customer expectation and better the experience. The third thing is the lack of visibility into the kitchen productivity. So some kitchen teams operate very efficiently, like a clockwork, while others lag behind. So which one is good and which one is bad? And without data, it's impossible to quantify why and which is better than the other. For example, one team may serve 100 customers in a shift, while another struggles to even handle 70 under the same conditions. So, and without seeing that, you don't know which one is better and why is better. Which type of operation is more efficient? You wouldn't know because you're not measuring it. So it's not about isolated mistake. Is about the overall tempo of the operation and a nuance that's hard to measure manually. The fourth is inability to measure SLA breaches. So you want a good customer experience, you set an SLA for your team, but you can't measure it. So you do not know during busy time or when you have an unexpected spike, some customers may receive a poor service, but you don't know, say, how many are receiving poor service and when they're receiving poor service. So there's no breakdown on which customer segments suffered or when SLAs were breached. So you want to reduce these outliers and failure rates. You first need visibility on that. So solution. So what can FootfallCam provide you? So the core problem with the lack of operational visibility is obviously queue abandonment, lost sitting opportunity, inefficient workflow, SLA breaches, and all those. Those are invisible in the POS data. So FootfallCam fills this critical gap by providing the quantifiable and time-based metrics. So like a scorecard in football game, they claim they are busy. The staff claim they're busy, but the work rate, um, it's if only if it's being measured, then you have less excuse. So now, so what can we provide in here? We can provide a real-time queue monitoring system. So you can provide a live visibility into the queue length, the wait time, the queuing time for both the management and also the staff, so they can act on it now. So it acts like a live scorecard during the operation, so everyone can see the situation. So not only just the store manager seeing it and chasing everyone around, so every member of staff, they can see it. They can see it in real time. And when the queues are starting to grow, the staff are alerted, so they can prep themselves to do it more efficiently. They can react promptly to that to reduce the built-up speed, reducing these wait time. So the presence of performance data also eliminates all excuses because everything is tracked and visible. Seating area. So seating availability dashboard. So this will display the real-time seat occupancy to help customers find available seat, especially like if you have a big food court. So, where seat available so they can go there. And so it's particularly useful in high traffic locations and shared spaces, like I mentioned, like food court and canteens, like school canteens, office canteens, those things. And it can be integrated into the public facing screens or the mobile apps if you want, in your own company app, so diners can check them remotely as well. So before they make their way to the canteen, they can see whether or not it's is full. So it also helps, of course, then dining abandonment and improves the table turnover. Yeah. The third one we can produce is the staff flow and workstation heat maps. Now, this is really measuring the kitchen efficiency. We can visualize the staff movement and the workflow across the kitchen and service area. So it's used to assess overall productivity. Now, this is very important. We without breaching the individual employee privacy, we use a privacy mask, and we're not recording anything that's related to the individual person. So we're only measuring like the heat map of the station and whether or not the movement, unnecessary movement between the station. So all this. So we are identifying inefficiencies or bottlenecks, especially bottlenecks in the kitchen that could impact the service speed. So the management can help to address the bottlenecks for that. So data is aggregated to support training, planning, team-based performance improvements, and all that. The fourth, of course, outside traffic and conversion rate monitoring. Now, so we're measuring how many people are passing by your store outside versus how many that actually come in. This is essential in understanding impulse buying behavior, especially in fast food settings on the main streets. So it help to evaluate the efficiency of your signage, your the visibility of the store, marketing campaign that you might be running. So it enables businesses to capitalize on peak time and refine the front of house strategies. So the key takeaway of this is that these solutions will work together to give QSR operations a complete and real-time picture of what's happening both inside and outside of their stores. The goal is not just to measure performance, but to create accountability, improving customer experience, and reduce missed opportunities. So let's look at a real-time service flow, speed of service. So high incoming traffic requires high speed of service to ensure customer satisfaction. So the core metrics is so that the fundamental, that's the fundamental we want to emphasize, is they are the key indicator that help guide us and hold us accountable for maintaining the speed of service. So the metrics like queue length, queuing to order, queuing to pick up, sitting occupancy, how long they're sitting there, the staff dwell time in the different key zone, the footfall that comes in, the outside traffic or over there is it helps us to determine when we need to step up and work faster, when we should prepare in advance. So you can prep food, you should get, or at a less busier time, or you need to prep more food leading to peak time, when you need to schedule more staff, all this. So when to focus on secondary tasks like restocking and cleaning, of course, as well. So all these real-time signals will help the team stay aligned on the operational priorities throughout the day. And with the right speed of service, we can reduce wait time, minimize customer abandonment, and obviously maintain a consistent service quality. Yeah. So let's look at measuring the speed of service. We want to highlight once again the importance of it. So as you can see in these two graphs, traffic volume is constantly coming in. So we're assuming, they constantly come in at the same rate. And you have this is when you have two manpower and they're not very efficient at 50% of the capacity. This is when you have three manpower at 100% capacity. So you can't turn customers away, right? So you have to serve everyone that comes in. So so the goal is to how to handle as many of them as possible without exceeding your capacity. So your SLA. So you have a capacity in terms of the number of available seats. You also have a capacity in terms of how long people are willing to wait to queue, to order, and to receive their food. So with the help of predictive analysis, so we know how many people are expected to come in the next hour and the next half an hour, and so you can plan your staff accordingly. And if your staff if your team is staffed properly and working at full efficiency, they'll be able to serve customers promptly, and so you're meeting your SLA. You wouldn't breach your SLA, so the customer won't pile up. But if not, then they will pile up. So the waiting time will increase. So this is where the SLA comes in. Yeah, so that's where you want to optimize operation or within the SLA limit for that. So if you don't have the SLA and if you don't have a measurement, then it's like playing football without a scorecard. You're doing something, but without a measurement or a purpose. So again, timing is critical. We need to identify when and where the service bottlenecks happen, and everything must be measured and reviewed afterwards to improve future performance. So this way we can know exactly where the operational efficiencies are, how severe they are, and which team or shift they are occurring in. Yeah. So let's look at an example of, so this is probably one of the most important slide in this presentation, is how do we implement this and how much does it cost? Yeah. So honestly, if the system is too expensive, many businesses will just ask, why bother, right? But at the right price point, where we are offering, which is about 1,000 US dollar, this then becomes almost a must-have. Why haven't we got it yet? For many like fast food restaurants in any QSR. So, for example, to put things in perspective, so you have a QSR that serve 2,000 people a day. You have X number of seats. You have Y number of staff in your kitchen area, and maybe a few kiosks that they can order, and as well as your obviously ordering counter. So what we propose to put in would be at the entrance, you put in a Pro 2, you can count the number of people going in and out. You can monitor the queue length here, the waiting time in the ordering, the pickup area, and the kiosk area as well. You might use 3 Pro 1 and you can monitor the staff flow and identify the workstation bottlenecks there. We can also work with your existing CCTV to track the occupancy and seat turnover in the dining duration. You reuse your CCTV in the restaurant to achieve full restaurant coverage and also on the outside as well. Now, I wouldn't go through too much about the devices. We have a webinar, so I do encourage you to watch. That's the webinar there. We also have, which we talk about the device, where it has a very powerful CPU as well as a 8 TOPS neural processing units. This is the one that allows AI and analytics in there, and a very powerful GPU as well. And this is where it allows us to analyze not only the devices there, but also, as we mentioned, your existing CCTV, so we can pull it on. So this is the main one that is there. We have also put it down under here under appendices. So how we talk about now is the 4th and 5th generation. As I mentioned about the 3D Pro 2 with the upgraded NPU, so we can then now analyze all the shoppers analytics with the privacy mask and analyzing multiple devices to give you the widest coverage possible, and even in fast moving high density crowds. So and where we have 3 times the coverage, how we are comparing even 10 times cheaper than our competitor for a very big coverage of the full store. So talking about competitive analysis and all that. So I won't cover too much here, and also like how much it would be, how many devices it need to cover at that coverage size. So it's all in here. So I'll leave it in there. So or you can listen to the webinar for a bit more detail. So now I'll move on to the metrics that you can see. So we measure the total visitor that come into the to your store, the number of people that are passing outside, the turn-in rate, on average, how long they stay in your store, the dwell time distribution, how long they stay, how many percentage of your customers stay less than 5 minutes. So they come in, they take away, very efficient, and then they leave. Or between that time or more than that, they're probably the dining, or maybe your queuing time is not good. The table usage, the usage duration, occupancy rate, your average occupancy of your whole store, station. So these are for the kitchen station, utilization rate, and all that. So these are all the metrics that you can see. So now you see why it is a must-have now. for the QSRP course at less than 1,000 US dollar, you can get a scorecard with your three most important metrics in here: your sitting availability, your average customer waiting time, and SLA breaches if you have any, kitchen efficiency. So now you can then benchmark the performance across all your stores. And you can also compare against the industry standards and the logic. Why are you slower when you already know what's coming? Yeah. And it's not just about an oversight, it's about a shared accountability between the management and staff. And this system is live. It's not something you look at it once a month and then you blame someone. It is live, it's real time. You can look at it now, you can look at it every day. So your staff will see the data in real time. So everyone know when to pick up the pace, when to prepare, and when to shift gears. So now let us look at we'll look at a few scenario case studies. So fast food restaurants is a high throughput environment with different functional zones. And to help visualize this, we use different colored zones. So to help you with that. So like, for example, the yellow showing the storefront, the green and blue showing the ordering and serving zone, a pickup zone. So that the salmon color showing the sitting area, and the purple color showing the kitchen area. So let's have a look at some of this. Yeah. So then you have people passing outside, queuing, your staff is serving, the ordering area. You also have self-service order kiosks, and then they come over here to wait for the food. And then they come over here to sit down. So how occupied is your table? This is obviously underutilized. Things like this. And also on your kitchen area. So where are they manning? Are they in the freezer area, the food preparation, the cooking zone, a holding zone, the assembly, packaging area? So you can count all of those area. So you can count your. This will enable us to track the aggregate behavior across the different store. You can derive patterns and analytics, and you can build accurate behavioral models. So once we get the tracking right, everything else, the metrics, reporting, modeling, they will fall into place. Now, this is the essence of why installing analytics at the store level is critical. And not only that, many customers today also order via mobile apps or self-service kiosks. Yeah, because not all customers behave, obviously they behave differently. And that is why we want to use your actual store floor plan to design and configure the monitoring system in a way that reflects your customer flow and your business model. For example, you may want to learn, like I mentioned just now, the use of the newly added self-service kiosks. So you can track how many people come in that then goes to the kiosk area. What are the demographic that goes to the kiosk area? How long they stay in the kiosk area using the different kiosks you have, like how many actually stand in front of the kiosk and interacting with it, and so forth. So, and then from your kiosk sales record, then you can see what is the conversion? Have the 50 people that comes into the kiosk area, have you got 50 order? Or have you only got 30 order? That means the 20 of them abandon it. So maybe your usage wasn't very good. It was not working. So the 20 that abandoned then go to the counter to order with your staff. So for example, things like this. And you might see maybe the older customer, they're not so good with mobile app ordering or the kiosk ordering, and they will use the traditional counter service. So these are the types of insights you can uncover for a fast food restaurant. So that's the true value of our solution. It's not one size fits all. It adapts to your real world layout. So once again, the three key metrics we always come back to is the customer journey and waiting time, occupancy and seating turnover, and kitchen efficiency. So these are the three things we aim to measure, optimize, and improve with every store. Okay, the next case studies is food court. So food court is another important and growing area. The biggest concern in a food court isn't just about the food or the service. It's more about whether the customer can find a seat. Sitting occupancy is key. And for customers finding the seat, then you will have less takeaway and that. So otherwise, if you don't have enough seat, then they will move on. So you want a live dashboard to help customer finding that seat over there. So because if they can't find the seat, they won't even go to the store. They would just leave and go to somewhere else. So unlike the fast food outlets just now when we talk about where the take away is common, food court are very more focused on dining experience. Therefore, the seating availability becomes very critical to the conversion. So let's have a look at there. So people come into the food court because you have lots of seating area. Like I mentioned, if you come in here and you see lots of people here, you don't know if there's actually an empty table over there and so forth. So people come in here, you want to show them where you have available seat. And then they will also then go and queue. So you want to tell them which store have a very long queue. So maybe try the other store on there. So this will reduce the walkaways, especially during the peak hour. So that. And in addition to the seating, as we mentioned just now, we provide the queue length monitoring of each of the individual store, so you can encourage them to go to the quieter store. So it promotes more even distribution of traffic across your different vendors. And this real-time look also helps the owner react in real time. So maybe calling in more staff or speeding up the preparation. Now, a third case is canteens. So canteens in office building, in warehouse, factory canteens, in academic settings like schools, colleges, hospitals, they all have canteens. Now, canteens often have fixed space and limited sitting area, but their goal would have to serve the entire population, be it in the company, in the factory, or in the hospital, or in the school, or on a campus, within a very limited dining windows. Yeah, breakfast, lunch, or the dinner time. So, for example, here, so you will see, okay, people come in here. So we want to track all this, the number of people that come in at the different time. You know, what is they obviously then come and look at the food that's being served. They grab the food, they come and pay for it, and then they go and sit down. So you want to track all this area and the behavior as well as the kitchen, whether or not they are preparing sufficiently and are they at the right station? Because if it's busy and this food is going low, you don't want people to be in the preparation stage. You want them to be in the cooking and the serving station. Yeah. So these are the things that you can track in a canteen, so that you can redistribute the foot traffic across the different time slots. So you still have a serving window. For example, lunchtime, you still serve from probably 11:30 to 12:30. You have a few hours. But the problem is they're not evenly utilized at the different time zone. Everybody comes in the middle of that period. So based on occupancy, you want to be able to let the diners to see when is really full and when you have a possibility of finding a table. So you want to spread that. So you want to give a real-time occupancy dashboard. That's what we can offer, that can be displayed online or in the internal website. So the office worker, before they leave the table, they can quick check and say, oh, I better go and there's still empty table, I better go quickly now. Or it's really full now, so let me finish off my email and I go half an hour later. So employee and student, they can check the current crowd, and then they automatically spread that. So this encourages obviously self-organization and flattens the peak congestion. Yeah. So the second, of course, you want to improve the resource planning, because your staff scheduling, what your food preparation and your cleaning are all dependent on the traffic volume. So and often you obviously use the sales data to guide planning, but that's only part of the story. So you want to, what is missing is the visibility. So you want to see when people come in, how long they stay, what is the peak period like. So you can provide the historical and a predictive traffic reports based on real-time people counting. So this will help the canteen to manage planning, plan their staff, plan the food prep, how much food they should order for a Wednesday, for example, and so prep more accurately. Right. The next case, airport transit restaurant. So in the airport, you have a lot of restaurants, so they serve obviously customer who have bought between the check-in security and so who have passed through the security and they're now waiting to board. Now, then it's very unique and is a very high pressure challenge because they have to operate in this very ultra time sensitive environment. So if you cannot serve in time and the customers cannot eat in time before they board, then they will have got to forget about the whole dining at all. So they have a very limited time to do that. So high speed, high efficiency operations are critical in these restaurants. Every minute counts. So if they delay in the service, then obviously then you lose the customer entirely. So they need to operate very efficiently in order to be able to serve that quickly and to capture these short and urgent dining windows. And adding on top of that, the demand is highly unpredictable and it fluctuates rapidly because the traffic flow is not consistent. It fluctuates depending on flight arrival for those transit passengers or delays, flight delays, then you have more time to dine and more initially those customers who would rather not eat, then now they have to come in and eat because there's a flight delay or gate changes. Suddenly that flight, a very full flight, change the gate over here, then you're suddenly your restaurants having a lot of demand. So, and the customer profile will also shift constantly. Some are in a rush, others may have a longer layover and have more time to eat. So this makes the planning of staffing and food prep and layout design extremely challenging. So our solution is to then integrate with AODB data, which is the airport operational database, to access the live flight data. So we can allow the restaurants to predict incoming passenger searches. So you know that, okay, you have this big flight to this certain country, and historically, every time you have that flight at a gate close by, you have lots of people coming in to eat. So you can predict the traffic spike, or if there's a flight delay, you can see a longer dwell time and a more relaxed customer, of course. Yeah. So you can tailor the offerings and resource optimization. You might also, based on the different traffic profile, to change your menu and service offering. You can adjust that. So you might offer the fast grab and go items during the rush period, or more relaxed dining options for longer layover the windows. Yeah. On there. So measuring the performance in different time slots based on the flight schedule is important for these airport transit restaurants. So the use cases for that is serving area monitoring. So you can derive customer dissatisfaction and abandonment, sitting area monitoring, very straightforward, kitchen monitoring, importance of the heat map and to way to motivate the staff to know when to speed up. Storefront, of course, and because it's a lot of impulse buying, so what you can do and when you can increase the impulse buying. Diners demographics, so who are they? What are the group size at the different serving time? So let's look at case one, serving and waiting time monitoring. So what can you do here? So you have obviously queue measurements to order, to pick up their food, and sometimes they don't just stand in a queue to pick up the food. They might be just hovering around here. Now, the more people hovering around, the unhappier they are. This lead to long wait time and lead to unhappy customers. So you want to track how long they're waiting, the size of the queue, and the real-time status to help staff to maintain the service area, service level. So in turn, of course, again, quantify customer frustration and abandonment risk. So this allows you to obviously calculate your loss, potential lost sales, and all that, and how well you can service. So sometimes they're not just over here, they might be waiting here for the food to be served as well. So that's what you're measuring. And sitting area monitoring as well. So having a look a little bit like here, sorry. So you can look at how many tables are available, the green one, how many tables they have left is available, but is dirty. So it needs to be clean, and how many of them are occupied. So even with a view like this, the staff can now quickly come here and say, okay, all right, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have 6 tables need to clean, so we better come and clean it up. Or because I have so many available table, then maybe there's no rush because the customer can go to those tables first. Yeah. So this provide a full visibility into the space usage and customer dwell time. So you can look at that. The third one, kitchen area workflow and heat map. So this is a production area. The rate of this is very important, the heat map, because then you can benchmark. Um, Something to clarify first, the privacy considerations is in place. We don't track individual, but rather we track the team performance. So we're not telling who is standing there. We're telling you how well they're there. Where are they? The dwell time in the different zone and the distribution of the staff. So you can tell the story and you can motivate the force. So the kitchen performance, why is it so slow? So the sensor can send a signal or a symptom of why the queue builds up because the work rate and lane distribution is not fast enough, for example. Then you can benchmark a winning store. So go and find your top performing store and learn the pattern. Why are they top performing? How come they can serve 100 people and still within the SLA? So what are the heat map? What does the heat map look like? So you may probably find that they're very focused. They're very hot. The staff is just focused there and not moving around. That could reflect a good preparation. So then they don't have to be like, for example, this is a good one versus this is a poor one, underperformance, because they're not in their station um, most of the time. The time are spending going there to pick up the freezer area, going there to cook, then come here to food preparation. So you have a lot of movement in between. So those travel are wasting time. So you want to then, how do you train your staff from this moving pattern? Of course, it's not just telling your staff not to leave your station, but rather what kind of strategy have you put in place? Like leading up to that, you want to get all the food in that area. So then they are all preparing here rather than having to go to the freezer area. Yeah. So for that. And then you have your storefront outside of your store, outside traffic, because measuring outside traffic is very important. How many people are passed by and how many is entering your turning rate, essentially critical for the QSR, especially those that are located on a busy street and shopping center, because where impulse buying is common. So you want to help evaluate the effectiveness of your window display or the signage and visibility of your shop and the time specific marketing campaign. And sometimes also like your scent. We've typically known fast food, they just pump out the aroma of their cooking. Um, so all this, when are you pumping out? When are you having a different signage showing a offer and anything? Are they increasing the turn-in rate and so forth? So you can measure all that. And last but not least, of course, the diners demographic profiling. So you can, who are your customer, the age and gender, so you can look at um, like yeah, your gender, your different age, when do they come in, and of course then yeah, when you're the busiest hour, your footfall versus your outside traffic. So all this you can measure so that you can tailor your menu offerings, your promotions, your staffing levels. So all this is very important. So you capture the footfall trends and traffic distribution over the time so you can make data-driven decision for your marketing, operations, and storefront display. Yeah. So in the upcoming workshop, we will look more deeply into it. But now we will have a brief look on how to use different dashboards for different stakeholders for different purposes. So we have put down quite a few there, but let me go and show you live. So we can look at the regional live dashboard. So this is live. So you can look at all your sites, like for fast food restaurants, fast food chain, you can look at all the slides and what is accumulative visitors so far on this day, so far how many have already come in. What is the occupancy at the pickup zone? So whether or not they're really busy, and the table occupancy on there, you can look at so far what is the pickup, sitting, kitchen area, and so forth. And the table occupancy there when it's already full and so forth. And you can click on one of the side, of course, and you can then look at store live dashboard. So you can then see where people are, how many people are waiting here, how many people are sitting down, how many people are passing outside. So all this different area, your occupancy rate, your footfall rate, and your table occupied, whether you still have some. So is your store is busy, but you still have one or two tables available, which is good sign. And then you can look at your store report. You can look at the weekly report. Again, this one is total visitor across all your different restaurants, outside traffic, turn-in rate, your daily visitor, of the last 7 days, how many are outside, how many actually come in, your average occupancy in your pickup zone and in your sitting zone, your visitor time, like over the last 7 days, over the different time when you really peak, when you're very quiet, occupancy likewise, dwell time. How long on average they spend 8 minutes? Is this good for your store? If not, so you can then obviously want to see how to improve that, and your dwell time in your sitting area. So again, how long they're staying there, your table being occupied when it's full, when you really are very empty. And then also look at your peak hour for each of the different day and so forth, and the service of that. Then you can also look at daily report. So you can look at specific day on those, and also you can customize a different day as well. Again, looking at the visitor, how it has changed from the previous period, like last week, this day, for example, and then look at your footfall, your occupancy, your dwell time, and also your table being occupied, and as well as sitting, because you can have all your table occupied all by one person, and you have the other three seats available. So your sitting occupancy is also important, because table full occupation of table may not be your most peak. It probably be your when your sitting is really peak. Then so you can look at that. You can also look at regional report. For example, your monthly report, again, all the different metrics there, your daily visitor. You can then put in things like an event on there, and look at your 12 months trend, look at all your distribution on there, look at your efficiency, your flow efficiency, the pickup time versus the pickup occupancy. So some of the stores are really good, some of the stores are really poor performing, and your sitting efficiency as well. Some are really good, some are really poor. And then you can then pick up which one you can improve on. And of course, then you can look at your leaderboard, which stores is the best, and so forth. And obviously, all your stores there on there. So you can have a look at that too as well. And so our upcoming workshops, I encourage you to come again. Thanks for coming today. We have where we say how we maximize the data value. So we're going to talk more like what we have shown you the dashboard just now, for different stakeholders, operation team, sales team, marketing team, and so forth. And then, of course, and as we mentioned just now, we want to look at the real world case and how to build the scalable. So again, not all on day one, but scalable layer by layer, and to future proof that, and with your budget. Yeah. And then we're going to talk about competitive analysis of our device against other competitor, and the installation and calibration best practice. Thank you.
Thank Thank you, Dr. Melissa, for the insightful presentation. We have covered some great points today, and I'm sure our audience has a lot of questions. Oh, I can see in the chat, we have already received some great questions. We will now move to the Q&A section.
Thank you. Yes, looks at the first one. So how can FootfallCam help reduce waiting time in our restaurants? We say you track the queue length, you track your customer flow, and you track your staff movement. So you will have all this in order to help you to be able to act. So we can identify when and where the bottlenecks happen. And this allows managers to adjust the staffing workflows in real time and to keep waiting time within the SLA targets. Second question, what is the return on investment? Of course, ROI for a QSR using this solution. Now, the ROI comes from three main areas. One is, of course, you increase your order throughput during the peak hours to increase sales, reducing customer abandonment, and optimizing the staffing. So many clients recover their investment within 3 to 6 months through the operational gains alone. Third question, how can this help us plan our staff rosters more accurately? Yes, indeed, and that's the purpose of it. We have a predictive analysis. So not only just you look at historically and say, oh, Wednesday is going to be like this, Friday, Saturday is going to be like this. We actually use the historical data and we're going to give you a predictive analytics. So you don't actually have to be a business analyst to analyze that and then to plan your staff rosters. We've done the analytics for you. So we're going to predict and we're going to tell you on a Wednesday, you need this number of staff and your staff should be doing these at 12 o'clock. So with this on that, and not only just on the footfall trend and your kitchen movement trend, from your sales trend as well. So we can combine multiple different data to forecast your busy period, so you can enable more precise and data-driven staffing plan to match the actual demand, of course. Next question. How do you track abandonment if a customer walks in but leaves without ordering? How do we know? I think what you're saying. So we detect the entry into the store, and then because this is not a fashion store, they're not going to come here and browse. They come here, they go straight, obviously, to the ordering area. So we can see if they come in and whether or not they actually proceed to the serving zone. If they obviously proceed to the sitting area, fine. So maybe you come in the group. So they might proceed to sitting area because they're going to order on the phone app, yeah? Or, they come in a group, so four of them go to the seat and one of them go to the ordering zone. So we can see all this customer behavior and we're tracking them. And we can then track those people who come in, look, and leave. So they didn't enter the ordering area, they didn't stay beyond a certain threshold of time, they didn't go to the sitting area. So this would be flagged as a potential abandonment. Fifth question, how do you deal with group arrivals, like friends and couples, and where only one orders? Like just now I mentioned, some of them go to sit down and one order. So our system we do estimate the grouping. So as they come in, we estimate the grouping by synchronized entry patterns and the proximity there with each other. Yeah. So we have metrics like the average group size, we have the conversion rate per group. So we all help adjust the abandonment estimates as well, more accurately. So we're using all this to do that. Next question. Can you monitor how efficiently our kitchen team is working? Yes. So we're using the staff movement heat maps and the zone-based dwell time. So we can compare kitchen performance during the high output versus the low output periods. So this helps identify. So you want to see, during the low output time, when the kitchen is really quiet, do you have someone at the packaging area just very hot there? That would just means one staff is just daydreaming there. But rather at that time, that staff should have gone into the back and do food preparation, cutting, just getting things out from the freezer and things like this. So you can use this to help identify the top performing zones, the top performing teams, as well as the bottleneck zones. Next question, do we need to install many cameras for this to work? Now, you do need to have measurements and obviously you have to have cameras at the location where you want to measure, but you don't need a lot of them. So most stores require just 2 to 3, because fast food restaurants, typically they're not huge. They are usually over a small medium size for that. So usually 2 to 3 of our FootfallCam Pro 2 and Pro 1 units combination to cover the entrance, the serving, and the sitting area, and is designed to be low cost. And it can also work with your existing CCTV that you already have. So then you do not need to have extra expenditure on that. So, and it's minimally invasive and is quick to deploy. Next question. How accurate is the people counting system? Now, FootfallCam, we delivers up to 99% accuracy at the entrance in the serving zones using 3D stereo vision, AI-powered people counting algorithm. And we calibrate each store layout individually for the best results. And most important of all, our accuracy can be validated. We are very open and transparent. We don't just claim to be 99%. We actually validate our accuracy on that. So you know what kind of accuracy you are getting. Yeah. Next question. Does this integrate with our POS or ordering system? Indeed, yes. Integration is optional, but is very valuable, and we obviously encourage you to do that. And by correlating the POS data with footfall and dwell time, you can then get your conversion rate, processing time, and your performance insight by different session, by different shift. So yes, and we have already done a lot of this integration, not only just for the QSR, but for all other like retail and different industry. So we have another webinar that talk more about the integration. We have 6 methods of integration, so we fully cover that one too. Let's do the last questions. Is the system suitable for both dine-in and pick-up focused stores like Starbucks? So absolutely. So you have like, for example, Starbucks or this, even like fast food restaurants now, of course, a lot of them, they come in, they either take away. You have lots of takeaway. You also have lots where you have, like delivery pickup. Those Uber Eats, Deliveroo, and all those. Yeah. So all those, and as well as they sit down in the cafe area, and they can sit down for hours. So for pickup models, we distinguish between the seated customers and those that are waiting for the order. So allowing you to measure the different waiting zones. You have measuring app order, the mobile app order behavior, and also even identify the abandonment patterns in this area as well. Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Melissa, for that insightful and informative presentation. We have covered some valuable topics today, and we truly appreciate your expertise. Thank you for being part of today's session. We look forward to seeing you at our next workshop. Thank you.
Thank you.